The following video was created using segments of a video webinar broadcast by the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in August 2020, as well as a recorded interview of Governor J.B. Pritzker's main COVID-19 modeling team, which was released to the Protect Parents' Rights team as part of a Freedom of Information Act request.
When did you guys begin working on this data?
March 10th.
About March 10th.
5 p.m. if you want to know precise time.
When did you guys begin working on this data?
March 10th.
About March 10th.
5 p.m. if you want to know precise time.
While the exact significance of March 10th at precisely 5 p.m. is largely unknown at this time, here is an email from March 3rd, 2020 that demonstrates Dr. Maslov was working with the COVID-19 data at least 1 week prior to March 10th at precisely 5 p.m. and had in fact already begun to put together a slide deck for a presentation which, among other things, was promoting the adoption of more stringent social distancing practices. Dr. Nigel Goldenfeld and Dr. Sergey Maslov are both professors of physics at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. Doctors Goldenfeld and Maslov would like you to believe that back in early March, they were so concerned about the risk COVID-19 posed to the university that they decided to volunteer their skills to try to help out by providing modeling of the impact of the pandemic. It should be noted that in prior reporting, the Protect Parents' Rights team has expressed serious doubts regarding the validity of the modeling Drs. Goldenfeld and Maslov provided to Governor J.B. Pritzker on March 18, 2020. Their modeling directly led to the governor's stay-at-home order and essentially the full lockdown of residents in the state of Illinois. In this video, the Protect Parents' Rights team will present evidence that Drs. Goldenfeld and Maslov have ulterior motives, and that they, in coordinated effort with the University of Illinois and others, are actively attempting to bring their agenda to fruition.
Did Civis Analytics get paid for their role?
You'd have to ask them.
Okay.
I assume so.
Yeah, you assume so? Okay. Like at least
I don't know. It's not something I've ever asked them. We're not being paid.
Oh, right. What about McKinsey?
We're volunteers.
There were two consulting firms too, McKinsey and Mears.
That's right.
Did they get paid?
How do you know that?
I think it was in the press release.
Yeah, Governor mentioned it.
Yeah.
Again,
they were involved initially. There was one call where they were involved, and then after that we never saw them again. So I don't know if they're still working with us or not. Every day, now it's more like every 2 days, we have a meeting with Civis people, and it's just our group, Northwestern University, University of Chicago, and just in the last week or so, a team from Argonne National Lab.
What's the name of the national lab again?
Argonne.
Argonne?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So who runs that national lab? Is it like NIH or something? Who runs it?
No, it's DOE, Department of Energy. You can Google it up, Argonne.
If you want, we can put you in touch with the people there.
Maybe not this time, but.
On March 11th, 2020, less than 24 hours after Dr. Maslov claimed to have started working with the COVID-19 data, he wrote this email to the Dean of the University of Illinois School of Engineering in response to the suggestion of organizing into groups, which the Dean had made 20 minutes prior. Dr. Maslov writes, regarding organizing working groups focused on specific topics, I can share my experience of being a member of such group, organized by Rick Stevens at Argonne National Lab. In addition to me and 2 of my students, plus lots of Argonne folks, this group also includes people from Brookhaven National Laboratory, and Craig Venter Research Institute for Vaccine Development. My students and I are active in 3 of these groups. I was told by Rick that Bill Gropp allocated some computer time at NCSA that my students can use towards vaccine development objectives. Clearly, the efforts of the team at Argonne National Laboratory were well underway by March 11th, 2020, and Dr. Maslov and his students were significantly involved in Argonne's work. And at least one person at Argonne National Laboratory apparently knew how this pandemic would play out before it even really began. In a Chicago Magazine article titled "The Chicago Scientists Trying to Save Our Lives," Stephen Streifer, Argonne National Laboratory's interim deputy director for science, said that on January 10th, 2020, his thought was, quote, "This is a tsunami that's moving right toward us." This is a remarkable prediction because it was only on that same day, January 10th, that the Chinese CDC first released the gene sequence of SARS-CoV-2, allowing researchers from around the world to begin to study the novel coronavirus for the first time. And China did not report the first death from the respiratory disease caused by the virus until the following day. Was this January 10th prediction of a tsunami that's moving right toward us a tsunami of dangerous coronavirus infections, or a tsunami of authoritarian government requirements, which would fundamentally change American society, all coming in the guise of pandemic mitigation strategies? Argonne appears to be modeling for both. In 2016, a team of Argonne scientists had modeled disease outbreak using the intentionally silly and laughably dismissible pretext of a zombie apocalypse. But there is nothing silly about this sort of modeling simulation. This zombie virus simulation utilized a large and ongoing project at Argonne National Laboratory called SHISM. In 2018, scientists at Argonne published this paper titled SHISM, an agent-based simulation model of social interaction in a large urban area, where SHISM is explained in detail. Here are a couple of quotes. SHISM, the Chicago Social Interaction Model, is an agent-based model framework of people and places in Chicago, along with the daily activities in which they engage. Agent-based simulation, a relatively new approach to modeling populations of heterogeneous, interacting, adaptive agents at an individual, granular level of detail, is the technical simulation approach taken in SHISM. SHISM models the behavior and social interaction of all Chicago residents. Agents consist of the population of all of the residents of Chicago represented at the individual level. Places consist of geolocated parcels in the city, such as households, schools, workplaces, hospitals, and general quarters, such as nursing homes, dormitories, jails, etc. During the course of a simulation day, agents move from place to place, hour by hour, engaging in social activities and interactions with co-located agents. Each agent has a baseline set of socio-demographic characteristics, e.g. race, ethnicity, age, gender, educational attainment, income. Which brings us back to Dr. Nigel Goldenfeld and Dr. Sergey Maslov and the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Remember this email Dr. Maslov wrote on March 11th, supposedly less than 24 hours after he began working with the COVID-19 data, where he discusses all his team's interaction with the teams at Argonne National Laboratory? Well, in this email, Dr. Maslov slips up and explains what the entire COVID-19 pandemic is really all about. Quote, Nigel and I are interested in developing the epidemiology model which started this thread to more realistic social networks. One of the people at Argonne has a monstrous network of co-localization of 3 million people in Chicago, end quote. Take a listen to Dr. Nigel Goldenfeld explain what is currently going on at University of Illinois.
I'm going to tell you about SHIELD, which I'm sure you've heard about in these series. So SHIELD is our idea for how we're going to safely reopen the university in a different but safe way. So SHIELD has three parts. It's target, test, and tell.
Now, keep in mind the threat posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which Drs. Goldenfeld and Maslow played a significant role in promoting through what the Protect Parents' Rights team has alleged is highly questionable modeling, is the basis for everything they are doing now. And clearly what they wanted to do prior to presenting their modeling report to Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. The University of Illinois SHIELD program of Target, Test, and Tell is simply the beginning of highly detailed agent-based modeling at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, likely very similar to the SHISM simulations being done at Argonne National Laboratory. Here is proof.
Now, in principle, you could try to model this in two different ways. You could say, let's model everything. Let's build a computer model of every person in the university and every choice that they make, what they have for breakfast and everything like that. But then, of course, you would have a huge number of adjustable parameters and your model would be very poorly constrained by data. On the other hand, you can try to do what we did with the state, where you model just the population dynamics as a whole. But then you can't answer important detailed questions, such as what is the false positive rate of an exposure notification app. So what we do instead is we choose some kind of middle ground. What we have is a sort of high-level description of the model that goes something like this. If you look at a university, what is it? Well, it's a place where students and professors and teachers come together at specific times and places for classes. What we do is we took the class schedule for the fall 2019 semester, which is what we had available at the time. There's about 45,000 students who are going to classes and performing their activities. We have various zones: classrooms, bars, restaurants, dorms, coffee shops, libraries, other gathering places. And then what we did was we constructed the network of the students and these zones from this anonymized data. And this is what you get. You see here, this is a representation of a social network where the nodes are the classes and the edges are the students. So it's a very high transmission risk. And then what we do now is that we take all those individuals, we simulate them going about their daily activities, and so this is called an agent-based model.
An agent-based model, just like the one that was developed and is in use at Argonne National Laboratory. These sorts of simulations are rapidly establishing the foundation for a total surveillance society. The University of Illinois requiring student compliance with its SHIELD program, which is quite possibly premised on highly questionable, potentially fraudulent modeling, is a clear indication of bad motives, and even more so when there is strong evidence that this exact sort of social network simulation development was the entire goal from the beginning. The Protect Parents' Rights team has great respect for the University of Illinois as a historic and prestigious university, and for its many, many fine students and alumni. However, the recent actions highlighted in this video strongly suggest that the University of Illinois has taken a turn towards darkness and tyranny and away from light and freedom. And what is worse is that officials at the university appear intent to spread their program of draconian surveillance throughout the state of Illinois and possibly throughout the country. The Protect Parents' Rights team has recently engaged the University of Illinois regarding our very serious concerns about the modeling done at the university, which directly led to the shutdown of the state of Illinois back in March. From our standpoint, and given the extensive research we have conducted, the University of Illinois has some incredibly important questions to answer and even more important decisions to make. The Protect Parents' Rights team is wholly committed to uncovering the truth on this matter. If you like the efforts the Protect Parents' Rights team is making, please consider giving to support our work. Thank you.